Hot gal, woi, woi, woi. You know we can be ourselves in here. It's Black Tech Fest, isn't it?
I know. Hi.
Want to big up Colour in Tech as well for putting on such an amazing event. Candice, how you feeling today?
Do you know what, guys? Auntie Jackie Aina just told the organizers she wants to meet me. And then we were backstage having a moment, and she was like, girl, I love everything you do. I love the podcast. And I was just like, So I'm on cloud 9 right now, I can't lie.
I didn't have this question planned, actually. But what does it feel like to get support from fellow black women? Because it just sounds like your heart's full right now.
Do you know what? It means the world, because I said this in a talk yesterday, I think for a very long time, especially in the UK, it felt as if there could only be one black, dark-skinned woman at any given time. Or the attitude was very like, we were made to fight each other because there's only one seat at this imaginary table. And so to like connect with people who read my books or follow me online or watch me on TV and just feel the love, it's a lot.
I can see that. And it's always big smiles every time I see you as well.
Do you know what? I paid too much for these teeth, you know.
And them look good. You smile bright. There are so many strings to your bow. I mean, like I've said here, author, journalist, you know, TV presenter.
Yeah.
What is something about you that we don't know?
People might know, but I used to be a competitive ballroom dancer when I was a kid. Yeah. And I won gold for like Lambeth Council. Like, listen, I can pass a double with the best of them. So that's the thing I keep in my pocket. And I think it was one of the ways I laid the foundation to this career, because from very young, I was forced to stand up in front of people and essentially be judged. It was very dance mum-ish, and I was the only black girl in the dance school. So, yeah.
And how did, you know, that judgment, being judged, how did it prep you for what you're doing now? What impact has it had on you? Look at that face.
Do you know what? I say it every day. This is going to sound weird because I know people will go, oh, you're not that. But I am so grateful that I wasn't born the beauty standards or the prettiest or the coolest, because I went to school with many of those women who their confidence was based on it being given to them by a teacher, by a man, by family saying you're the lick, you're buff. When you're none of those things, you have to spar yourself in the mirror. And like, my confidence is dependent on me. And so as much as that hurt as a little girl and as a teen, not being what they perceive the beauty standard to be or whatever, that's why I'm so confident now, because I'm not waiting on someone to say you're the shit. I say I'm the shit every morning.
Yes, tell them again. And you raise a really good point, right? So when you're talking about the coolest, the prettiest, etc., we always have to pick apart, you know what I'm about already. We always have to pick apart what makes someone the coolest, what makes someone the prettiest, and quite often that is white supremacist beauty standards, right? And we are operating in that space. And you inspire so many people, because although we operate in that space, and I'm not talking about a woe is me story, I'm talking about the fact that you saw what it is and you cut through it. You said, yeah, I can see this space that I'm in, I can see what these people are attempting to tell me what I am, but I know what I am.
Yeah.
Where did that tenacity come from? Where did you get that strength to say, you know what, you can't tell me nothing, man. There.
So many people know I was raised by my maternal grandfather, so my mother's father, and my dad. Both my mum and my nan were out working. My granddad was blind in one eye, and till this day he can't read, right? And he raised me from a babe in arms till I was 10 years old. And there is something tremendously powerful about being raised by two black men who were constantly like, we know the world is going to give you shit. That doesn't mean you roll around in it, you know? And so whenever, as an adult now, my confidence may waver, I just always think of what those two implanted in me. And I know that this Black History Month is about saluting our sisters, but I say it all the time, I couldn't be the woman I am without those two black men in my life.
I think that's it's so beautiful to hear the impact that those men have in your life, especially when often those conversations are around, you know, black women and girls not feeling supported by the men and boys in their life, in their communities and around them. And I think it's important that we have those open conversations in our community. And that's why we're here at Black Tech Fest having that conversation.
Yeah.
I mean, your journey...
I'm a scammer, innit?
Yeah?
He said, yeah.
What a journey. Nah, for real, like, in all seriousness, your journey has just been one of so many strings. What has that journey been like to you? And what are you always impart lessons on us. And I don't want this to be a flap question, but what has been the biggest lessons for you? So rather than what you want to share with people, let's talk about you, right? And what people can learn from you. What have been the biggest lessons for yourself across your journey?
The biggest lesson I had to learn, and I think I learned it quite publicly, is not everyone is your friend. You can be the most open-hearted, kind, genuine person, especially in the industry I was early in my career. There are a lot of white women who didn't want well for me. And I was just taking them on face value. Do you get what I'm saying? And then we have this huge public discourse and fallout where even in being the victim, I wasn't allowed to speak up for myself. Because even in defense, they would say that I am the one that is the angry black woman. So that really taught me, like, to this day, I get certain email requests through my agent, and I'm like, lock it off. I don't want to hear, see, or smell certain people because I've been cut too deep. So I'm a Pisces, like, everyone's my friend until you're not. I had to now move like a Scorpio, like, you're not my brethren until you are. So I learned that. I also learned there is this complete fallacy right now of be your authentic self. You have to be so authentic. That authenticity is not something you should permit to just any and everyone. Because I think as black women, sometimes being our authentic selves can be used against us. So you have to understand that in certain walks of life, you may only give someone 40%, 50%, and the true you should be reserved for those who love you without judgment. So this isn't to say that I'm fake online, but it does mean that I'm like, I can't just come out here and cuss everyone every day and tell off my business, because then I can't pay the school fees. Because if I gave you the real, I'd be out of work. Do you get what I'm saying? But I think there's this trick going on of, I don't think they're very authentic. To what cost and to what end? The reality is, as soon as we leave our houses, as soon as we go online, to some degree, we are performing. It's a performance. And I don't think you should have to, like, metaphorically slit your wrists for people to respect you.
I think that is such an amazing point, Candice. Thank you. And it's really nice that you've touched on this at Black Tech Fest, right? So people talk about code switching and all that. I made a joke about it a bit earlier on, but a lot of these things, these switching, you know, this performance is a tool that we use to get what we need and want. We shouldn't have to do it. It doesn't mean you're selling out, but it's a tool that you're using.
Let me tell you something. This is all a game. This is all a game, and it's so rigged. And once you crack the code, you can go clear, you know? And so I don't like people who are like, you know, if we code switch, we're not being authentic. No, you're trying to get what you deserve. And we're not going to, I think our generation, as inspiring as we are, I think sometimes we think we can dismantle this house in our timeline. I don't necessarily think that's going to happen. I think if we try to do that, you can miss out on what is for you. So I don't look at any black person, or especially black woman, bad if she knows that there is a game that needs to be played and that there is a way she needs to play it.
And I like the separation of a game. So you're not losing your identity in the process. We go into a game, we do what we need to do, and then we luck it off, man. Done. I want to touch on something very close to your heart. You're a mother.
Yeah.
We're not going to get, I know you said you don't want to share too much of your business, but you know, this is something you shared that's really important to you, an important part of your journey. And it's a process that is rooted in love.
Yeah.
I see whenever you talk about motherhood, and I don't know if that's linked to the way that those men loved you growing up, but there is just so much love in the way that you talk about motherhood. But your experiences haven't always been positive.
No.
Can you tell me a bit more about it?
Yeah, for those that don't know, I had my first child in 2013. I gave birth to her in Croydon, and the nickname for the hospital then used to be May Die. was called May Day, but we called it May Die. And I did almost die. I developed sepsis a few days after, and 5 midwives kept telling me it was in my head, I was overthinking it. One night, I fell asleep with Esme on my chest. I know you shouldn't do that, but she's alive, girl, let it go. Then she wriggled down to my tummy, and it was the smell that woke up the whole house. And like Bode came in the room gagging. He was like, oh my God, I know they say newborn shit stinks, but this is rancid. Anyway, long story short, it was me. Her baby weight had burst an infected sac that was sitting underneath my C-section wound. I was blue lit back to hospital, emergency surgery. Long story short, I had to stay in hospital for 6 weeks, and Esme wasn't allowed to see me because they didn't know how infectious I was. So yeah, giving birth to her was like, aside from dying, it is quote unquote the worst experience you could have.
I'm so sorry you went through that.
Yeah.
I'm about to keep pulling it back. I think, you know, you reinforce the importance of having people who look like us in spaces,
Yeah.
who acknowledge our experiences and understand us. Because
Do you know what, though? I don't want to sit in front of my own people and tell a lie. I found some of the harshest care to be from elder black midwives. Their attitude was very, what you crying for? Women do this every day. Buck up your ideas. You should be strong. And in that moment, I was looking to them for maternal care. Like, that could be my auntie, my grandma, my mum. And they were like, I remember when I was rushed to have the C-section, it was a little white girl that held my hand. She was like in her mid-20s, and she was like, you're going to be all right. Meanwhile, auntie's in the corner sighing about how she should have clocked off 10 minutes ago. And so, again, I don't like down talking my own, but it's life or death out there. And so for us to not understand how important it is for our own within the healthcare system to first and foremost support us and then believe us, I don't know what else there is to say, because I don't know if anyone's clocked the political climate. It is community time. It's been community time. Excuse my French, them motherfuckers don't care. They don't care. And if we don't get active about restoring the community, about supporting our young and old sisters, we are screwed.
I mean, Candice, it's such a traumatic event, right? And you're a voice for so many women who are like yourselves. How did you reconcile the emotions that are associated with that? Nearly losing your life. If we're being real, that's what it was. Such a traumatic event to become the voice that you are right now. How did you reconcile that inside yourself?
I'm not going to lie to you, I haven't. And until Esme was about 7, she would cry manically whenever I left the house. And then when I got a new therapist, my therapist was like, there are these things in our brains called synapses. And she was like, a newborn baby uses scent to retain those. And she said the fact that Esme couldn't smell you for almost 2 months meant that her brain programmed fear and loss and abandonment. And Esme's chill now, but sometimes I'm so filled with rage that because I wasn't listened to, people not only robbed me, you robbed my kids. And now, for an eternity, we're going to be trying to figure out how to make her understand that as long as I can, Mum is not going anywhere. And I see a stark difference between Esme and RJ. RJ's like, yeah, see you later, whatever, welcome, peace. Esme's clinging to my boot, or she's texting me every 5 minutes, and I'm like, there is so much more at play here. I think the reason I've had to put it in the margin is because God has decided the pain was for purpose. God has decided that there was a bigger story to tell. So I don't really get to sit in my woes too long if sharing the story means that Black women understand if they want to have children, they need to buck up their ideas about their support system and maternity care.
Very, very powerful work you do. I mean, you do all of this based on the experiences that you've had. Being able to separate those experiences from the work that you do every day and carry on and continue doing what you do and being a mum and just being this light that you are for so many people. What works best for you in managing the pressure? I mean, we're at Black Tech Fest, navigating this space. We've heard lots of speakers today around how they manage and navigate pressure and stress. How do you manage it? How do you navigate that?
I've learned the hard way to say no more, and I'll tell you this for free. Anytime my stress has been the highest, it's because I've gone against my intuition. From the start, I knew it was a no. From the start, I knew I shouldn't have worked with this person, this brand, this business, but I felt like, you know, come on, Candice, just do it. Meanwhile, my intuition was like, so now, and I've got to a point in my life where I can get really ticked off if someone makes me feel as though I need to explain my intuition to them. Don't make me do that. If the inner clock says no, you need to just take that as the final answer. In true Pisces fashion, 6 weeks later, everyone's like, oh my God, we dodged the bullet. I'm like, yeah, I don't know the done know. And so that's one way I keep stress levels down. I don't know how pertinent this is to people in the audience, but the person you decide to go halves on children with is so, 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 so important. Because I'm with a person that we always say if the romance doesn't last, he is someone I would continue to like to parent with. He is someone I would continue to like to run a business with and be friends with. And so I would say to anyone that doesn't have kids, like, don't let the fuzziness fool you. Fuzziness, it's like Coca-Cola. You open that bottle and the pop is done. Then what? The drink goes flat. What else is this person bringing to the table? Are they the yin to your yang? Where you are disorganized, can they manage a calendar? More to the point, are we getting with, I'm going to say men, who are able to understand that maybe doing what a woman has been doing is not a dent in his masculinity? So much of me not being stressed is because I'm with someone who knows more about the washing machine than me, as he should.
That is, what a point. I mean, you're laughing like it's funny, but I think, you know, as a black man, these conversations are so important, and often it's about having open conversations. The success of your woman, or the woman you're in a relationship with, is a reflection of the love that you have with each other. So if she achieves, stand back and be proud, man. What's wrong with you?
You need to see her achieving as you achieving, as your household achieving. And I've got too many friends who had, because you know I'll get in their ear, but they had partners who wouldn't let them out-earn them, or, you know, didn't want to step back.
Wild.
So wild. Didn't want to step back to help manage childcare. And I said, girl, you got to run. Because how is he blocking your shine in his own home? Like, this is for the community.
You sort of say your family. They're like, ah.
Like, my wins cannot just be my wins, because whilst I'm here, Bode's on the school run. Esme's been out of the house for 3 nights on a trip. He's picking her up and washing her clothes. Like, I couldn't do this by myself. I think black households would be onto a winning formula if a lot of straight men were just like, my woman being a boss doesn't demasculate me.
Great point. And I think we've sort of come full circle to the subject that we're speaking about today. There is money to be made in tech.
Me know.
Come on. So, like, I think irrespective of, we're talking about black people specifically, but, you know, outside of sexuality, when you're getting into relationships, I'm sure there are lots of people who walk into this, you start making money and you think, what does this mean for my future? What does this mean for my relationships? How will I find love when I become successful? Am I spending too much time in the office or on my career and not focusing on A, B, and C? So these worries that you have, given the structures that we exist in within society, I think a lot of people can relate to. And on a shallow level, are you the yin to my yang is what I'm going to be saying on every day I go on. Are you the yin to my yang? You spoke about your partner, but I mean, your success is undeniable. You work with a close friend.
Yeah.
What is it like? Is your friend in the audience?
No, she's not here.
Someone must know your friend, because I heard the woo from here.
It's Sorrel.
You lot wake up now, innit? What is it like working with your close friend every day?
It's truly one of the greatest gifts from the universe. For years, people were asking us separately to do a podcast, but we're not the kind of women that can just talk into a mic solo. And we were like, we've not met the person, allow it. We're not going to force it. Sorrel signed to the management agency I've been with since RJ was born. And our managers were like, oh, we think you two will get along, you know. Let's take you lot out to dinner. Listen, them lot went home. Me and Sorrel was there till 1 a.m. kikiing and ka-ka-ka-ka-ka-ka. Then it's time to go home. I was getting in a car. I was like, oh, let me drop you back. Where you going? She was like, I'm not going to ball out the address. I said, girl, that's 10 minutes from me. Now, I live in Muku land. Like, this ain't no commoners. No one don't be living up there. I said, no, this is freaky. So one day we were literally in my closet, just gossiping and catching joke. And I was like, oh, my God. Closet Confessions. And literally that's how that podcast was born. And I think for those that engage with the material, people think we've been friends since we were this high. Like, our friendship is, a year old, but we are so trusting of each other. If I have to go to a business meeting for Closet Confessions without her, she's like, whatever Candice says goes, and vice versa. To be honest, I don't want to get emotional, but I am getting emotional, oh my God. Working with Sorrel has healed such deep black sisterhood wounds for me, because I was operating in a career where, again, I was believing that lie, there could only be one of one, and your sisters don't necessarily want the best for you. Working with Sorrel has really made me disarm my ego. Like, don't no one want better for that girl than me.
That's so beautiful, Candice. I know you don't want to get emotional, but I want to click into that emotion just for 1 second. What is that you're feeling? When you talk about her, when you just spoke about her and you felt that emotion coming up, what was that? Like, what were you feeling?
It was like my little sister. There's a slight age gap. She's 29, I'm 35. So it's like talking to my little sister. Put it this way, I get to be to Sorrel who I wish someone could have been to me. You know, I get to be like, that contract sounds lousy, mate. Like, don't even bother. I get to be like, delete that post. I get to be like, this isn't necessarily something you want to fight over at this time. I took so many licks. And, you know, I learned along the way, but I took licks that I wouldn't have had there have been an older black woman up the path ahead of me. But I understand, like, and this is the thing, everyone wants to be a trailblazer until you're going A&E. Do you know what I mean? Oh, trailblazer. Yeah, it comes with a beating, because you're the first to open certain doors. You're the first to drop in a booby trap. You're the first to have your career dragged up and down a timeline. And so I feel like I get to be that defense for Sorrel, like, babe, if you listen to me, you will not get this wrong. And in a similar vein, she's loosened me up, man. Like, I know I like to laugh, but I could be a bit stuffy and I could think about the brand all the time. Those who listen closely to Closet knows we've had to delete a few episodes because my mouth gets leery on there. And then management be pinging me off like, Candice, come on, you've gone too far. And in my career, I need that. I need a place where I can just speak and not feel judged.
And you spoke about the connection that you have with her, and it doesn't matter how long you've known someone. When that connection is consistent and it's strong, it adds value to your life.
Yeah.
I sound like a salesman, innit? But this is why I keep talking about community, right? It's been such a theme in the conversations that we're having today. And, you know, my best friend, we met when I was 19 years old. And I was a bit like, oh, you're going to be my best friend now.
Yeah.
You know, I just decided there and then.
And you know when you know.
Yeah. And it's years later. I mean, we were tight from the day we met. And it's been a few years. I'm not going to give away my age. But it's been many years. And I think when you decide on that connection, it really does something for you. But are there any cons to working with someone who's really close to you?
Yeah, we can egg each other on too much. Like, you just don't know where to draw the line. She'll say something loose, I'll say something looser, and then next thing we're deleting whole episodes because we're just cussing the system. And it can just get a bit leery. What are the other cons? It can then be hard, because she's done it to me and I've done it to her, to then pull each other up professionally and be like, girl, you were late for this meeting, or you know we've been waiting on this answer from you. It can make that a little bit tricky, but as long as honesty is at the head of the table and there's no egos, the pros far outweigh the cons.
I love that, Candice. It makes me think of Kelechi Okafor.
Listen, and let me
really
tell you
good
something.
friend of mine.
Where's Kelechi?
She's not here yet. She'll be here later.
Well, you guys can run this tape back for Kelechi. No, don't laugh. I want to take this as an opportunity to say, I miss that girl a lot. Don't make me cry, y'all. For reasons I won't go into, there's been such a splinter in our relationship. And we currently have a middleman of a friend being like, "Bun all this, man, just fix up, like, do." And I've been so hesitant because, of course, I've been hurt so many times. And I know on Kelechi's end, and guys, hear me when I say, being a dark-skinned black woman out on these internet streets is not a fucking game, yeah? It can get mad abusive. It can get mad tiring. It can really put a dent in your spirit. And I don't think I've been as good as a sister to Kelechi as I could have been.
Don't make me emotional.
No, it's the truth.
Because you know we're mad tight. It's like a friendship link-up. We didn't even come here for this today, but...
And you know what? It's not to say that there were any bad words or there was any beef, but also, if you're not wholeheartedly showing up for your sister publicly, you might as well be beefing. Because the attacks your sister is taking from different people, you saying, "I see you, I support you, I love you," can make the world of difference.
That is really, really profound. Thank you. We got from egging to each other on to... so beautifully said, Candice. I mean, there'll be plenty of people in the audience, like yourself, male and female, non-binary, however they identify alike, that really identify with your journey and where you're at. What advice do you have for people who are on a... Don't widen your eyes like that. What advice do you have for people inside the room?
What advice would I have? Again, you guys have probably seen me say it online. I say it to my kids all the time, remain unrealistic. We are the first generation really grappling with this new digital freedom. And you can't have too many people in your ear tell you what they feel is realistic based on their fears for themselves. If I were to listen to even... Bode would have me still working at Penguin. Because when I did quit the job, Bode looked at me like I was mad. He was like, "Right, you fucked up this time. But I love you, so I'm going to stick around." And now, 10 years later, he's like, "That's the best move you ever made." I had a vision. The intuition said, take this leap. Now, it's not going to be easy, but my intuition said, if you master this now, it's not only going to change your life, you are going to be the kind of ancestor people want to put on their altars. You get me? And so I would say, if you have that knowing, don't get caught up in the logic. I always say, don't let small logic interrupt big magic. Sometimes you're looking at paperwork and the numbers don't fit, or you don't think you're the person, or you don't think, you're going to be the one that gets the call. I don't deal with none of that. Of course, I've got a good accountant, but when it comes to like moving... when it comes to moving mountains and doing things for the first time, if there's no one up ahead of me, why the hell would I take advice from someone behind me?
Wowza. I'm going to call my manager right now. We've got maybe like 2 minutes left. I'm aware of time.
Okay.
Does anyone have any questions? I'm going to take one or two. One just here in the front. There should be a roaming mic coming for you as we speak.
Hopefully.
If not, I feel like you got the voice to just shout.
Oh, no, she's...
Oh, it's there, just here. Thank you.
Thank you. What advice would you give to like a young aspiring author or like journalist, someone who wants to just do the creative stuff?
Right, what advice would I give? Don't give up your day job. Don't do what I did. Try and pattern those two things together for as long as you can. Publishing, even in a post-George Floyd era, is still tremendously based on nepotism and whiteness and being brethren with people from Oxford. So what you're going to need to do is get a very good agent. You need a really good literary agent. You can't just walk up to Penguin and be like, "I've got this banging book, I want you to publish it." They only listen to people who look like them. And so you need that agent to be your first line of defense. I would also say, don't forget how powerful it is to self-publish online. You never know who's watching. And always, always keep practicing your craft, because when you least expect it, that's when the call's gonna come, and you wanna be ready.
Thank you. We've got time for one more question just here. Your hand went up high and fast, you know. Just along.
Okay,
We
okay.
doing past the pot? Go on.
3.
2.
Yeah. After
Alright,
that
cool.
one, this one.
All right, cool. We got you. You've been giving us energy the whole time, so we got you.
How do you find a way to kind of a radar for the balance between being for the people, but at the same time being someone who is obviously black and dark skinned and trying to make a place for themselves in social media or even work or just a white dominated space?
Do you know what? That's a really great question. And for a long time, I thought I had to be for the people. Ultimately, I have to be for Candice Brathwaite. And you have to be for you. And you have to trust that who you are in your fullness is what is going to attract certain people to your tribe. I couldn't be out here being for the people. There's hundreds of you here. What am I going to do? Split myself up and pretend to be someone for these lot and pretend to be someone else for this lot. Now, this does mean that your audience or whatever you do may be smaller, but I'm telling you the reach will be greater because you're showing up as your true self. And now, like, it took me a really long time to trust that my blackness was also part of the parcel. It's only really the last 18 months, people are like, Rotty, you're Jamaican and that. Yeah, because now, when you get me a bit vexed, I don't hide the patois in my videos or in my conversation. So this is another thing I really want black creatives to understand. Who you are in your full black capacity is not only worthy of being shown, it is now the dime that you can make. Don't forget that. Because they are very quick to pick up a little Central C and sell him like he is the black culture. So don't forget what you already have ownership of.
With one question, you right here, just one. I have to be strict. I'm so sorry. And then we're gonna have to wrap.
No, I know.
You love talking it, boy. Making my job hard today.
Hello. Oh, wow. Okay. My name is Viola Samia. I'm here with my best friend, my 2 friends who we used to work together, and now we've kind of created this group. I'm going to be brave. Each time you spoke, we cheered, we roared, we felt something. It felt as though you were our older sister talking to us. Would you be willing to have dinner with us one day?
Oh my God!
This is why you took the mic. Wow. She didn't even go to the agent,
Do you know what? As long as you lot are paying them, they are.
Thank you so much. I'm going to have to wrap now. Candice Brathwaite, what a force. Thank you so much for sharing the stage with me today.
Thank you, Richie. Thank you.